One of the most controversial debates in sports. And I feel like as a Reds fan, it's my duty to at least have this conversation with baseball fans and Reds fans and just people that are interested about this debate in general. Obviously, Pete Rose is one of the greatest baseball players to ever live and probably the greatest player in Cincinnati Reds franchise history. He brought 2 World Series titles to Cincinnati, or helped, in the Big Red Machine era in the 70s. He had a legendary MLB career. Unfortunately, it was marred by the gambling scandal, and that led in 1989 to a lifetime ban, and it raised a lot of questions for his Hall of Fame eligibility. And unfortunately, he has not been inducted into Cooperstown, New York, in the MLB Hall of Fame. He has been inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame, but there's been a lot of back and forth about whether he deserves it because of his off-the-field issues or his gambling scandal, and I just wanted to take you through it and just give some arguments. Some would say, yeah, he definitely deserves to be in it, and some would say no, and then I'll give you my final opinion. But let me know what you guys think. Before I get into this, like, comment, subscribe. For all new content on this channel, it's really much appreciated, and I'm going to be covering a lot of these topics, and as a Reds fan, I feel like I can speak on this more than anybody. Granted, I'm a younger Reds fan, so I didn't watch Pete Rose play, but I may sound a little bit biased in like one side. I'll let you guys decide which one, because I feel like I'll make it a little obvious, but I will take you through each because I can definitely understand both sides, and we'll just see where it goes. But of course, Pete Rose is a Hall of Fame caliber player in terms of talent. There's no denying that. I mean, he's the hit king. He was an amazing baseball player, man. For the arguments for, let's start with that, because that's always what a debate starts with. So, of course, he had a record-breaking career. He's the all-time hits leader, 4,256. He broke that in 1985 against the San Diego Padres. And the longevity is a big part of his career as well. I mean, he's not just a record-breaking player in terms of like statistics and everything. I mean, he averaged over 300 for his entire career, but he's had 17 All-Star selections across 5 different positions. So this dude has been all over the baseball field, literally and physically. I mean, when he was running around those bases, and when he was nicknamed Charlie Hustle. One of the criticisms, and I talked about this, if you look at my Pete Rose passing video when he passed away, I reflected on his career, and I said, like, one of the biggest criticisms I have for these current Reds teams, at least in the David Bell era, hopefully that changes under Terry Francona, I said the main issue is that they're not giving the proper effort. This dude, I mean, was nicknamed because of his effort, Charlie Hustle. I mean, he was known for just his versatility on the base path, on the field, obviously a good clubhouse member, just a great player, man. So then you got to look at team accolades. I mean, he's got 3 World Series titles, 2 with Cincinnati and 1 with the Philadelphia Phillies in 1980. So he's got the rings to back it up, and he's nicknamed, and he was respected across most baseball fans as well. I mean, even rival fans, they have nothing but positive things to say about him. Obviously Cincinnati will cherish him for what he did for the franchise, but even fans all around. I mean, he was named to the All-Century team in 1999. So there's no denying his talent. I think even people that don't think he's in the Hall of Fame or deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, I feel like even they'll acknowledge, like, yeah, he was an amazing talent. I think you have a really strong argument for him, but I can also see, for as great as he was, I mean, there was a lot of things that went against it as well. I mean, he had a record-breaking career, but also, I mean, he had the gambling scandal. He admitted to betting on MLB games. It's not that he bet against the Reds, but he still bet on MLB games, and that was against the policy. And then he got a lifetime ban. He was permanently ineligible for the Hall of Fame consideration, and there was a lot of lingering rumors when he was inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame back in 2016. Would he come out of the ineligibility and just get inducted into Cooperstown? And unfortunately, that just didn't happen because he passed away in September of 2024. And I don't know if that woke up commissioner and everything. Like, man, like, maybe that gave him a sense of, like, oh, wow. Like, he's really, like, not going to be able to see the Hall of Fame alive, that is, depending on if he ever gets in at all. The integrity concerned, I mean, that was just viewed as, like, just an indictment on the sport's integrity. And, I understand, players, you want players to follow the rules. You want them to be more mindful of the the game and what the impact of these mistakes can have. But what stands out to me, man, is like the lifetime ban and all. Like that I just don't agree with that, just because of the mistakes that many other players across this league have made. And while I understand, that's still a big mar on his legacy. And don't get me wrong, even if he was inducted in the Hall of Fame, even when he was alive, I mean, you have people saying like that's BS, that's Bush League and whatnot. Like you can't get away from that. I mean, there's always going to be people on both sides. But those are the arguments against him, and I understand. But his current status. I mean, obviously he passed away last year, and that sparked even a heated debate. Like, man, should he have been inducted? Should he have not? There was some off the field issues even beyond the gambling that I'll not get into, because I mean, I feel like there's many people in Cooperstown that have had issues like this. But the Hall of Fame still excludes, I mean, it still excludes banned players. The gambling stance has evolved over the years, so I feel like, I don't know the particular rule changes, but I know that there's rules that are different now than it was back in, 1989 when they found out and banned him. But, you got to also look at, like, the support that he's received from not only his team, not only the owners of Cincinnati, not only Cincinnati community, but you got players and coaches, and I feel like baseball aficionados all across the MLB, all across the world. I mean, they'll all tell you, most of them will tell you, like, yeah, Pete Rose should have been in the Hall of Fame. It sucks. I mean, his career got overshadowed by, this incident, because obviously you work hard to achieve what he's achieved, and, he played for Cooperstown. I mean, that was his goal from the start. He even said that at the Reds Hall of Fame. He's like, man, I've never given up on Cooperstown. They've given up on me, but I've never ever given up on them. And it just got you thinking, like, man, like this is what he played for. And a lot of Cincinnati Reds fans, they looked up to him as a baseball player, and a lot of them are Reds fans because of his production and him being the centerpiece of the Big Red Machine, Charlie Hustle being the centerpiece of the Big Red Machine. That's the kind of thing that I understand, why people would have a problem with him being in the Hall of Fame. And now that he's passed away, I mean, you'll get a lot of people that either show regret or don't change their stance at all. But my opinion, guys, I feel like you guys can kind of take a guess, but I feel like he should be in the Hall of Fame, and here's why. A lot of people, whether that be baseball players, football players, basketball players, they make it into the Hall of Fame because you got to honor their playing career. There's a lot of players that have off the field issues, whether that be allegations, whether that be gambling, whether that be whatever. I mean, you look at Ty Cobb. I mean, he had some racial incident. I know this was a while ago, but he had some racial incidents. He got inducted. This is honestly one of the bigger things. Like, he never bet against his own team. It'd be one thing if he threw games on purpose, like the 1919 Chicago Black Sox at the time. He never bet against his own team. He always bet for, or it just had nothing to do with it. But he never threw intentionally, and that's the kind of thing that I feel like should be in consideration. I know gambling is gambling and whatnot, but the fact that he never bet against the Reds, I mean, he still gave everything to the Reds. He was a big centerpiece in why they were a proud organization. A far cry from where they are right now, but he gave them a reason to be proud. And that's why I say, yes, he deserves the Hall of Fame. And I understand it's a controversial topic, and I can understand both sides, and that's why, I sparked this debate. If there's no debate if you can't understand both sides, plain and simple. I feel like people that are on the other side, I mean, they would say, like, gambling wasn't allowed, he should not be in the Hall of Fame. But think about all the mistakes that people have made throughout the years in all sports, not just baseball. Yet they still get the recognition of being in Kitten or Cooperstown or whatever. That's my 2 cents on it. My biggest key, you got to separate his on-field performance and what he gave to the franchise, to the game, from his off-the-field antics that were bad. And I do think that he should have been punished for it, but, this is the same league that, look, I don't want to harp, I'm not one of those people that harp on the Astros still, but at the time, they got massive criticism for it, but they got fined like $5 million or whatever. Like, the punishment was so light, but then you're gonna ban him for just I don't want to say it wasn't a big deal, but you banned him for like gambling. I mean, his whole career got marred, but nonetheless, he got celebrated by the Reds at the All-Star game a decade ago. He got celebrated for all of his accomplishments. If you guys remember the big four that were introduced, but nonetheless, I mean, I feel like there's many arguments for both sides, but my opinion is, yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and put in the Hall of Fame. And even if he won't be there to celebrate it, it would be an honor to have his name up there. But let me know what you guys think. I know it's a controversial topic. Should Peter Edward Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Let me know. You guys have a great one. Go Reds. And I'll see you guys next time.